The Zagori region of Greece. Nestled high in the peaks and valleys of the Pindus mountain range, it was kept a virtual secret from the world for centuries. Historically the domain of the ancient and mysterious Sarakatsani shepherds, it's a remote and rugged place to explore Greece's awesome natural beauty. There are no beaches up here, but there are some amazing hiking opportunities, and here are 3 trails I think anyone can enjoy. First up is the shortest and easiest walk of the 3, the hike to the Vikos Gorge overlook from Monodendri. Monodendri is a quaint and historic stone village that makes for a fantastic home base for travelers exploring the Zagori region. Once you pass Athanasios Church near the central square, you'll find the trailhead east of the amphitheater.
There you have it, Guinness Book of World Records 1997, Vikos Gorge right here in Greece. 900 meters, nearly 3,000 feet. Wow, deepest gorge in the world. Can't wait to see this.
The hike takes you through a forest and along a minimally maintained stone trail. Keep your eyes open for the red arrows that mark the trail, or you could easily lose your way. It's not tough, but it isn't without its challenges.
This hike out to the overlook for the Vikos Gorge from Monodendri, for an experienced hiker, somebody who hikes regularly and has pretty decent footwear, I'd put it at a pretty easy level hike. If you don't have a lot of hiking experience, just make sure that you've got good footwear and take your time and don't twist an ankle or something. It's a really nice walk.
After about 25 minutes, you'll be rewarded with one of the greatest payoffs I've ever had on a hike, when you emerge onto the edge of the world. These are the 3,000-foot cliffs of Vikos Gorge.
My goodness, this is one of those trails where you think you're walking away from the stuff you actually want to see, and I was starting to wonder, am I going the right way? And then you walk around this stone wall and a window opens through the trees and boom, there's the view. My God, this is one of the most incredible payoffs from a hike I've ever seen. That's a 3,000 foot face right there. You just feel your size like an ant.
Up next are the Vradeto steps. Just hearing the name, you know you're in for something special. I'd never heard of them before my trip here, but after a few conversations with locals, I knew I had to see them. This place is so remote that until the road we drove there was paved in 1973, these steps were the only way in or out. We felt every bit of that remoteness as we made our way through the cattle herds and donkeys up to the village. It was well over 100 degrees, so we cooled off with cappuccino freddo at the local cafe. The experience of scaling the Vradeto steps usually starts across the valley from Vradeto in the village of Kapisovo, but in this heat, we decided to do something different. In order to maximize the experience, we skipped the beginning of the hike to the bottom of the steps and started at the top of the steps at Vradeto. Then we could walk back up and double our time enjoying the views. With an elevation gain of about 1,000 feet and the near complete exposure to the sun, this hike straddles the line between moderate and difficult, but it sits on the rim of Vikos Gorge, the deepest in the world, with commanding vistas.
Remember to bring plenty of water on this hike and wear a hat because it's very exposed to the sun. There's little to no shade on this hike, and we actually met a couple who had to turn back because they didn't have enough water. So definitely remember to cover up and bring plenty of water.
Since its founding in 1616, Vradeto has resisted change from the outside, and although the road up has made access to this trail easier, the world has yet to fully discover this beautiful, lonely gem. 1,200 steps and 39 hairpin turns hammered home the law of hiking physics. What climbs down must also climb back up. And finally, at the top of my list are the bridges of Zagori. These stone sentinels of time were the reason we came here in the first place. The trailhead is marked on the road a few minutes before the town of Kipoi. The hike begins with this stunning sight, the Bridge of Plakiras. One of the rare triple arch bridges in Zagori, it was originally commissioned by the local abbot in the mid-1700s. Each of the bridges on this hike has its own vibe, and I couldn't help walking back and forth across this one, exploring from every angle and imagining the hundreds of years of stories while the warm breeze carried the sound of crickets past our ears. The walk to the next bridge was a fairly easy hike through the woods and meadows along a ravine, and in 100-degree plus heat, we were grateful for the shade. There isn't a lot of elevation on this hike, but it's not without its challenges.
There are a lot of natural obstacles on this path, namely a lot of gnats and flies when you walk through the shade. So gotta be ready to do your old horsetail. And also these riverbeds. Pretty easy to turn an ankle if you're not careful, so I'm gonna turn off the camera. Hard to walk while you shoot here.
The final bridge we found was the Milos Bridge, named after a nearby mill. As I climbed up its well-trodden span, I saw above me the tiny village of Kipoi. Milos Bridge was built in 1748 by a wealthy resident of the village to open up the route to Ioannina. It was by far the most atmospheric setting of the hike, mainly because of this bonus: an abandoned ancient stone mill house nearby. I suspected it was connected in some way to the mill the bridge was named after, but nothing here is signed, so that's just a guess. Not gonna lie, this felt like the beginning of a bad horror movie, but I decided to step in and explore anyway.
Well, there are a lot of bees in here. I can hear them, so I'm not gonna stay long, but this little house along the trail, you can stop here and get a really good sense of, historically how they lived in this region. It's really cool in here. You can feel how the stone walls really insulated the place. It's probably warm in the winter and it's very cool right now in the summer. And right here we have a grist mill. It's where they would grind their wheat into flour. There's a little room with a fireplace in there. That was probably the kitchen, I would guess. This is how every horror movie starts. Look at this cute little cabin in the woods.